Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. And man, do we have a very interesting show today. I was just thinking in my head before we went live, I was thinking, man, we're talking about the not deer today. Could somebody have come up with a better name than the not deer? Oh my gosh, I don't know why that's so funny to me. However, this is a serious topic, y'all. Serious topic. And it is one of the creepier cryptids of the Appalachians. And actually, it's not just in the Appalachians. We have not deer all over the place. And we're going to be getting into that today. If you guys are not familiar with the not deer, have you ever seen a deer that didn't look quite like a deer? That might be a not deer, y'all. And sometimes they have eyes on the facing front, like a predator, not like on the side of their head, like a normal deer. Sometimes they have strange legs and extra joints. And sometimes they're walking on two legs and peeking in your windows at night. Okay, so please put curtains and blinds up on your windows. I am a huge proponent of that. And if you don't, you might have some Bigfoots, dogmen, and now not deer looking in your windows at night. So you guys, gosh, I have my good friend Barry Littleton here with me today. He has done some pretty extensive research on some diseases and viruses that some of these deers may have that could be an explanation for what the not deer are. However, I don't think that's the case for all of them. And in my opinion, they could actually, some of them might be skinwalkers. I'm only going to say that name once today. We're going to go to the S-Walker after that. But nonetheless, there's a lot to discuss today. And so we are about to get to it, y'all. I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter yesterday. If you celebrate Easter, I was so swamped from the minute I woke up yesterday morning to my son being excited about his Easter basket and all the goodies the Easter Bunny brought him until late last night when I finally got home after 2 family dinners, 2 Easter egg hunts, and a lot of driving yesterday. It was a very long day. So, but nonetheless, it was a great Easter, and I hope you guys had a wonderful one as well. And, I was exhausted, but getting to see the family and everything was worth it. And getting to watch my son find Easter eggs was a lot of fun with all of his cousins. So that's what it's all about, y'all. It's not what it's all about, but it was fun. It was fun. And so yeah, so let's, oh, by the way, Saturday night, we had a wonderful show. We had Greg Smith here of Backwoods Cryptids up in North Georgia. If you guys missed that show, I didn't get to advertise it yesterday because I was so busy at Easter. So please go back and check that show out. Greg is a hoot. He is a hoot. He was so much fun to have on the show. I've got to get him back on soon. So, but anyways, if y'all missed it, please go back and watch that. We talked about the dogman reports that he's gotten from up in North Georgia. We correlated that with what we talked about the Saturday before with Kenny Starfox when he came on the show with us. So, all right, if you guys would like to get any information in regard to where I'm going to be, I'm actually going to be speaking at some conferences coming up, and I'm going to be in Myrtle Beach in like 3 weeks. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. I'll be at the Myrtle Beast Bigfoot Festival. So if you guys want to come see me, please come to that. And we're going to have a good time. We got the North Carolina Investigates guys coming, Dr. John Stamey, Matt Delph, David Pardue, Mike Famelant will be there with me as well. So y'all come see me at that. If you want more information, it's on my website. And also, I do have the Full Disclosure Now conference coming up. That's in July. If you guys want more information on that, go to my website as well. Okay. And I've got a couple more events too. So those are all on my calendar. Also, I do have a Patreon and I have a shop if you guys would like to support my work. It's right there on the screen and down there on the ticker. So I want to thank everybody so much for all your support and all of my channel members. If you're a member of the Hunt Club, thank you so much. You guys mean the world to me. Okay, well, but let's get to our show today because I can't wait to talk about the not deer. Okay, so and we're going to kind of focus on the ones in the Appalachian Mountains today, and I'm going to actually have some maps I'm going to show you guys of because we're going to talk a little bit about the chronic wasting disease, and we're going to see the correlation of where the chronic wasting diseases are in relation to these not deer, because it kind of blew my mind when I saw that map today. I was like, okay, so the not deer, they often move like a newborn deer, and like I said earlier, if you've ever seen a deer that didn't look quite right, it looks like a deer from a distance, but then when you get up to it, it doesn't act like a deer. But they move like a newborn deer with extra long legs. Some appear to be double jointed. Their eyes sit towards the front of their heads like a predator instead of the sides like a typical deer. They're typically not afraid of humans, and some report an uneasy feeling like there's an intelligence or emotion about them, and that something is totally off about them. They do walk on two legs sometimes, and they will chase you if you approach them. Now, are they merely deformed deer? Are they diseased? Or could they be an S-walker or something else? Well, of course, I have my good friend Barry Littleton here in the studio with me today. We're going to talk about all of this today. And Barry is a fantastic researcher. If you guys haven't already, please go to his YouTube channel. It's called Barry Littleton, and subscribe and join his Patreon. And please help me welcome to the show my good friend, Mr. Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry. I know you're excited about this one.
What's up, Jessica? You know, I think now refer to myself as a not Negro. I'm a melanin dominant. You know, this is not deer.
It's all in the language, isn't it?
Antiquated term, so I'm a melanin dominant. I'm a not Negro. God. Yeah, that's what it's.
Oh my God, it's all in the language, and I couldn't help but laugh about that. I couldn't help but laugh. Could there not be another name for this other than a not deer? It's weird.
I don't know. Now I'll be honest. On a serious note, I'd not really heard about this particular aspect of the phenomenon concerning deer, as far as like these mutated whatever you just deer spider sounding looking things. I've not heard about that, but concerning chronic wasting disease and what used to be, that started off as mad cow disease and then mad deer disease. And when I talked about mad deer disease back in the 90s, people got laughed at me. Right around 2000, I started hearing about that. And, people that are tripped out on mad cow disease. You've got the red rain and these other things that are these prion diseases, which are like a type of a protein, actually. And I've made some, suggestions that I think that some of these prion proteins come from space and that they're organisms that are on the collective conscious level and declared war upon humanity and Earth. That's what I kind of think, but we'll go into that later. But going back to the deer thing, now where I come from, there is these stories of what's called the deer woman. All right, and the deer woman was supposedly the Native American state, a lot of tribes where I come from, and in this one city they have these dances like once a year, okay? And during the dances, all different tribes from the state come, and they say that sometimes the deer people come, the deer women, they come, they have these skirts that, man, they wear these like these wrap boots things, and they've got these skirts that hide their hooves, and then they get to dancing sometimes, and it exposes them, and they like jump away. That's the way it was always described to me if they get discovered, but they would come to these powwows. That's what I was told. Whoa. Then a professor of mine, and he was, can't remember what tribe he was, honestly, he was a prick. Dr. Shaw, he was,
Oh,
but he's
no.
quite well known, Dr. Jerry Shaw. Anyway, I was talking to him one day after class. I said, "What can you tell me about the deer woman?" He was pretty much an expert in all his tribes, legends, and Native American folklore altogether. But he had said that the stories he had heard, not just the powwows, but there was also deer women that went to the clubs sometimes. They would come into some of those little cities and go to the clubs, and they would get men outside and trample them, like the way a deer tramples somebody, like seduce the man.
What?
And once they got him outside or secluded, they trample him like a deer would.
Oh my God.
Having his selfish desires, sexual desires, and such and such. That's the story what Dr. Shaw had told me. So anyway, just food for thought on that when dealing with these deer people and deer creatures. I think it's quite interesting, you know.
Wow. Well, that's kind of terrifying a little bit. It sounds like some kind of weird urban legend or something in a way. And of course, these stories of the deer people are all mythological, right? Oral tradition, things that are passed down. Some of them are cautionary tales, you know, that's what it sounds like. But I don't know. I mean, there's actually a video and I found it, but it was like, I couldn't upload it for some reason, but there's a video that you can find online. What looks like a woman, and I remembered her looking like a deer, and she's walking out from behind a tree, and she's kind of tiptoeing out, and then she kind of tiptoes back. You sent that to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but she has a tail, like a long tail, but she has feet like a deer, like hooves. Do you remember? You remember what she looked like?
Yeah, kind of. Now we've got the whole CGI thing going on, which just ruins everything. Everyone was like, "Oh, we don't call it that anymore. Let me get it right."
I don't know if it's
AI thing going on, so it's hard to tell what's fake and what's not. But that was an interesting one, you know. And when we start dealing with things, even like per se, I know some of your remote viewing data, you've gotten pan type of creatures. And Pan looked like a cross between a deer and Mr. Spock, a Vulcan, kind of, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's that video, when the first time I saw that video of that woman, who it was like a woman hybrid of some sort, some kind of, she looked like a fae or a deer, she looked like a deer woman to me. I thought that was a CGI. But I don't know. Like the more I looked at it, I was like, this might be real. But then how would somebody get that video though too? It's like, I hate AI sometimes.
It was bizarre, and more bizarre is if you look for it, it's probably not around anymore.
Yeah, well, I found it on TikTok. It's on TikTok. You can always find it there. Yeah, it's there. I actually found it last night when I was kind of thumbing through looking for deer people. I was looking for deer people after I had spent my whole day and I was exhausted. And I was laying in bed. I was like, I want to do not deers tomorrow. We're going to do not deers. And so I was definitely scrolling through looking for, that I was looking for the deer woman video actually last night. And I found it, but I couldn't upload it and stuff. And I figured people could just go find it if y'all want to look for it. So,
genetically speaking, what all do Homo sapiens have genetically in common with deer? I'm just curious if there's anything, something like to where when it comes to cattle mutilations, you can kind of connect a couple of things with cows and humans a little bit, it's a little far out, but there is a connection there, kind of like bovine and things like that. But I mean, it's just very interesting when you start dealing with that. I wonder if there is any connection, because I asked that not to be completely stupid, but in terms of what you discovered also in the data, not just what rumor is, but I tend to go a little bit on the data. We've done all those remote viewing shows, and it comes up with not just the ones you've done with me, but the ones you've done with others. These labs that are making basically the word always used as chimera now, but these mutations, these labs that are doing that. So what was all compatible between deer and humans? Just curious. I know there's somebody in the audience who probably knows way out of my league, over my pay rate.
That's a really good point. And do you remember you and I did that show with Jeremiah Fountain, who shout out to Jeremiah. He sent me an Easter message yesterday. That was so sweet of him.
Nice cat.
Yes, he's wonderful, and I like Jeremiah. We did that show with him where he was telling us about his dad's friend. It was his neighbor who had run into a horse human. It was like a horse human hybrid, a huge one out on his property. And remember, he said how much it changed that man. He was like a Viking. He had Norse background, Viking or something. He's like a Viking, and he went from having like bright blonde hair to like having all white hair or something. It was like it completely changed his life because it was so disturbing what he found. And it seems like that data, because I had remote viewed that for him, I feel like the data was like some kind of animal human hybrid or something. Do you remember? I can't recall all the data.
I remember that. It was really interesting because, I'd only heard about something like that a few times and never to that detail. That reminds me, there was a picture I was going to send you almost 2 weeks ago, and it was so odd. It's a picture that came through my feed, and it was from, I don't remember this like that, but it was a representation of the old cartoon Brave Star, and it is a horse warrior. It's a horse, but it's human form, but in this like warrior's metal type of outfit, and standing up with this thing that's some sort. I guess it was one of the characters. I didn't watch Brave Star, to be honest, but but it must be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That is foundation, because that representation of human horse hybrids doesn't come up very often that I had heard of before that, outside of the Centaur. The Centaur was represented as being something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like Minotaur is slightly different. Minotaur is supposed to be more of a bull, right?
Centaur is a bull, I think. Yeah. Well, do you remember?
Centaur was the bottom was
a man in the head of a bull, wasn't it? I don't
I
know.
thought that's the Minotaur.
I think I know a lot of
Minotaur
animals
has
that
the
are
head of
bullheaded.
a bull and the body of a man. The Centaur, the Centaur, it's got the body of a human, and then the upper top and the bottom torso is like a horse animal, bull or something. Yeah, that's my understanding anyway. I'm not an expert on anything, but I always liked the Minotaur because it was represented in Sinbad movies, and in Doctor Who Tom Baker era, there was these creatures called the Nimons, Nimons. They looked ridiculous. There are these cats on these platforms, and these are supposed to be hooves, so they walked around like that with leotards. But it was just funny.
Leotards, spandex. Oh my gosh! I was just thinking when you gave me that remote viewing target of Atlantis, right? Didn't you give me that one? And when I was remote viewing it, I was clearly seeing horse-headed humans. I remember that specifically.
That's right. That's right. And then we connected that, I think, to aren't those statues underwater of minotaurs?
There's one.
Where is that? I don't
remember, but I do remember seeing that somewhere. And some people were like, "Oh, well, this could be." When you Google or DuckDuckGo, Atlantis, those pictures will come up, and there's the pictures of like a sunken city, and there's a minotaur or whatever, some kind of or centaur, whatever you want to call it. It's the bull-headed human. It's got horns and everything. It was down there. So that's a picture that comes up.
Didn't that movie with David Bowie have a pretty good illustration of that too? Wasn't there a minotaur in that labyrinth? I know on Sinbad there was. And the minotaur was supposed to be in a labyrinth, right? Mm-hmm. And those labyrinths sound like a real elaborate way of disguising like Island of Dr. Moreau or a sacrificial island of some type. I mean, it's a bunch of mazes. It's just very interesting when looking at that type of thing and when really examining Greek mythology. So it's quite fascinating. Some of those beings and creatures that came, and the explanation from where some of them come from is insufficient. It sounds like lab experiments and this whole thing. The Earth is a lab.
I can get on board with that.
And it's creepy because I know there's a lot of testimony right now. People say they've encountered such, and I'm not saying all of it's not true, Jessica, but I have to take it with a grain of salt because there's so much right now in these fields. There's so much delusional people that are attracted to her, and just plain liars. Okay, that we have to use so much discernment. That it's unreal. And I,
Well,
so
we
I
always
don't
had
know.
to use discernment, no matter what. Always use discernment. There's so many. It's so funny because everybody there's so many people making up like not making up names. What kind of making up names? Like what else could we call the no deers, right? Or the not deers? I can't even say it right. The not deers.
Not
Daryl
deer.
says the near deer. It's nearly a deer. Okay. There's if you guys have your ideas, y'all put them in the chat. That's hilarious. I'm having a good time looking at all this. But Gerald also put the TikTok. If you guys want to click on this, you can see that video we're talking about of that woman. It's not a woman. It's probably CGI or AI, but it looks like a deer woman with a long like a tail. And I think Leah in the chat said something about
When
maybe
did that first come out? About 4 years ago? Would you say 3,
it's
4
been
years
a
ago?
while. I don't know. Probably. I'm not sure the date
Pretty
on it.
decent CGI for that era,
It's
right? Or I'm
decent.
sorry, AI for that era, right?
Yes,
Not
that's
bad.
right. Yeah, it is for sure.
The other day, and this is just something we just can mention this. We were trading pictures by Messenger, and I had sent you several that were they came through my feed on. I get these weird feeds that come through, but it was these pictures of supposed cryptid beings, and some of them look really good. And so I put them all through the best AI scanner thing that I've found so far that will bust some of these pictures. I started putting all of them through, and they all failed, except for like 2 pictures. There's like 12 of them, except for 2 pictures. And one was that really skinny dog man looking thing, and the other one was the dog man with the really long, it looked like extended arms. I can believe that one didn't scan as AI, but the other one, I was kind of tripping out on that. And all I can think is, okay, maybe it's just a prop somebody put up, and that's why it didn't go as AI. But otherwise, to think that might have possibly be a potentially real picture. Didn't you think that was a unnerving looking dog man? Looked like he was emancipated and.
Yeah, it looks emaciated. It looked like it was. I mean, I think there are some legitimate pictures of dogmen out there. I really do, but for somebody to get that close up of a dogman, to get a picture like that, it makes you wonder, first of all. But it's just like with Patty. How did they get that video of Patty? They had to flush her out, right? They had to flush her out. She had children. She had a I'm not going to call children a handicap, but in the wild, that'd be a handicap for. I mean, I hate to put it that way, because it is kind of because she's vulnerable. She's got kids, right? So it's like she's going to have. So she was making herself a target, basically, and that's how they got that video, because they're trying. I think she was trying to take her attention off the kids.
Right? What are you talking about? That no one talks about, at least not enough, when they say there's no evidence. Like some of those pictures, like that one, the Independence Bigfoot. I know people get on Thunder Thinker and make fun of him, but man, he does some good analysis. And like he did a facial analysis of that video and the gait. That he did several of them on the Independence. No one seems to look at enough. I mean, that's really, and what is it doing? It's messing with the child. It's grabbing the child's picking up. And, what it makes me think of as having psychology background was, I don't know about you, but did you ever have any friends that through childhood, as you like get older, you go to high school and things, you just never saw their parents? You didn't know if there was like maybe agoraphobias. They didn't come out of the house, but you never saw their parents until the one time your friend got busted for something or got in trouble and they had to come get them.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying technically, but that's how you catch, I think, a lot of this law of the Sasquatch gets broken. How people start seeing them it has to do with the kids. I heard that. I'm pretty sure I sent you that story about the volleyball tether that they were getting the Sasquatch kids to play with. But the individual described these beings that were playing with that tether ball being over 6 feet tall. And the grandfather told him, those beings, don't get close to them because the others will come. So the ones I've seen are more like 10 feet tall. Those are like toddlers you saw. It don't matter if they're 5, 6 feet tall, they're toddlers. Different mind frame. Anyway, sorry, I'll go back to what we were talking about. Sorry.
Oh no, I get it.
Just interesting, you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Thinker Thunker is a great one, Tanya, and everybody's talking about Thinker Thunker in the chat. That's a great YouTube channel if you guys want to go see. He does really good breakdowns of cryptids, and that's a good place to go see. You can kind of run through the videos and see like if you see anything that like you don't know if it's real or not. A lot of times he covers especially Bigfoot sightings and a couple of them that were dogmen as well. And so
he's got a Patreon.
He's a great person to go to.
Like doubled information out on Patreon. It's only like $1 a month or something, but it's a good one. Him and MK are kind of my go-to guys for analysis on Sasquatch videos.
Oh yeah, me too. Well, okay. Well, let's talk about these deer. Okay, because here's my question: is it plural deer? Or is it deers? Or are they all deer? I don't even know. Okay, I'm just gonna say deers. I'm gonna put an S on it. Okay, so deers. To me, it sounds like that's already plural. Okay, but it's not. So I don't know if anybody knows in the chat. I know I have a degree in English literature and I have no clue, y'all. Okay, but anyways, so deer, and then the not deer. Okay, Barry. I know we have a lot of hunters that are in our chat right now. A lot of hunters are listening right now, and I don't know. I mean, have you ever seen any kind of animal like in person? I know you saw that dog that night when you were walking. You said that it just didn't seem quite right? Something seems off about normal everyday animals that are in the environment, but you get a bad feeling about it, right?
A few times.
Mm-hmm.
Another time would be it came out of a graveyard. I was passing by, and I was much younger, but I was driving. It was what looked like a red tail ringed fox.
Mm-hmm.
Orange. It was orange. I'm sorry. And it was completely not natural. It was too big. It was not quite the size of a coyote, but almost bigger than a fox would be.
That's
and
huge.
I can never find a genesis that matches it or species identification ever. And it was crossing from one side of the graveyard to the other, which is a major street there. And gave me the feeling at being 3 a.m., 2:30 in the morning. Was this thing a grave robber? Was it, the way it stopped and looked at me? You know what I mean? It was so bizarre that I stopped the car. I didn't want to hit it. You know what I mean? But anyway, just point being that it's things like that, and sometimes we have these other entities, creatures that jump in our field of awareness. And as you already know, we use cognitive dissonance and cognitive bias to actually make them into something we can identify in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just something that we do. That don't mean it's not that there wasn't that, but it's just very bizarre things like that, and so much mystery on this planet and things we're unaware of, even in the concrete jungle. Mind you, that movie Wolfen, the spirit of the wolf, and anyway.
Thank you, Gerald. Gerald says deer is singular and plural. Sit down. Thank you so much, Gerald, for looking that up for me. I figured that. But I can always put a little S on it just to be Southern. Okay. Like Walmart.
Deer is one of those. DER is one of those. Has what, like 4 of them in there? 4 different ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh my gosh, yes. Dave Scott's in the chat, y'all, from Space Out Radio. What's up, Dave? Thank you for being here. Thank you for that super sticker. That's so sweet of you. I'm a Jessica Jones fan. Oh my gosh, I'm a Dave Scott fan. Dave, thank you.
Dave's cool.
You guys go check out Space Out Radio on YouTube and terrestrial radio stations all over North America.
He was just at some really big conference, just like last week, wasn't he?
He was at a conference, yeah, and he's got the SOR Vegas trip coming up in about 2 weeks or so. So we need to holler about that, Dave. Okay, I may try to go to that, y'all. I don't know. We're gonna see.
Vegas is a trip, man. Wow! Yeah. Told me you wanted to see some aliens standing on the corner. That's about the place to go. They're LA, right?
Yeah, some not deers running the streets. I don't know. It depends. We're in Reno. Actually, it'd be more probable to find a not deer in Reno, probably, or Virginia City, where we were last year. Okay, but nonetheless, and because that area is known for the S-walkers. Okay, out in Nevada. So, not saying that the not deer are all S-walkers, but they might be.
Question is that what everybody thinks they might be? these
Not
night deer,
everybody.
are they just mutations, or maybe skinwalkers, or what's
Ooh,
the
good
predominant opinion
question.
on that?
Okay, well let's pull up some pictures of what an actual healthy deer looks like. Okay, so let's do that first, because I kind of have to take a step back sometimes and think about, like, there's people from all over the world that are watching our show right now, and so we need to kind of set the tone as to what a deer looks like. Okay, just in case
Bambi,
anyone was
right?
yes,
How's
we
everybody
have
thinks? Come
beautiful deer.
on, you think a deer? A lot of people think Bambi.
Yes, yes. Well, here I have some pictures of some bucks. Okay, we're gonna look at bucks now. Bucks are male deer.
8-pointer.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8. That looks like about an 8er right there. And so
You didn't know I knew terminology like that, did you?
yes.
See?
Oh no, I totally know what it is. Trust me. Listen, I grew up with like
you didn't think the
I grew up
bee
with
knew
about
that.
10 deer heads mounted on all the walls of my house when I was a kid. Okay, we had deers on every wall, bucks, we had antelopes, we had everything. My dad was a hunter. Okay,
I was talking
so
about me. I'm from the city. I'm a brother. I know.
okay.
That I knew that. I thought you'd be impressed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. Look at that rack.
Oh, that's a nice
Look at
one.
that rack.
Wow.
Check out the rack on that guy.
Wow.
I know that sounds terrible.
That's impressive.
But yeah, this is what a typical deer looks like, y'all. Okay. And so here's the interesting thing is, like, some people have claimed that some of these not deers could be kangaroos. And I'm going to tell you what I forgot to pull up a picture of a kangaroo. Okay, because I know we need to see what a kangaroo looks like next to a deer. I think a kangaroo looks like a deer that just came out of prison. Okay, like it's all jacked up and it like hops on 2 legs. Because that's the thing about these not deer. When people see deers walking on 2 legs, sometimes they think that those are not deer. But I'm here to tell everybody, deers are known to walk on 2 legs sometimes, and not for a long distance. Okay, now let's get that straight. Not for long distance, but sometimes you're going to catch a deer on a trail cam walking on 2 legs. And that has a lot to do with them fighting. Okay, they are kind of territorial if they're in their mating season, or if they are trying to eat, let's say an apple off a tree or something like that. The deer are going to walk on 2 legs. They can. They are tiny little skinny legs, but they're going to walk on 2 legs. I do have this really weird picture, Barry. Look at this. This was taken on someone's trail cam, and it is a deer walking. I mean, it looks like there's nothing there. There's no other deer beside it. Okay, to be fighting or anything. It looks like it's probably in the winter or the fall. It looks like there's not a lot of leaves out there. So it's not like trying to pick a leaf of fruit off a tree or anything. And there's an orb right there beside it, Barry.
Yeah, that's the first thing that caught my attention of all things was that.
That is that is really odd.
And is that not a sufficient amount of eye reflection, I guess we could call it, but it still always adds to the mystery, doesn't it?
It does. Well, it could be, even flashing. Like some of these trail cams have IR lights on them as well, too. So
and to be honest, I mean, I don't know, but the 2 red things next to the orb, they just catch my attention too. I don't know what they are, but
those are like leaves. I think those are probably leaves.
Darker leaves.
Yeah, those are leaves. But I just wanted to show some pictures for reference today, to let the audience kind of see what a typical deer looks like. Okay, and we have a lot of deer in the Appalachians, a lot. And I want to tell a quick story real quick, back right after the Depression, at some point, my great-grandfather, my dad's dad, okay, he was a state senator here in Georgia, and he was a hunter, an avid huntsman, and he would have to travel to West Virginia and Virginia to go deer hunting and turkey hunting, because we didn't have any turkeys or deer in Georgia at all. There were none. And so at some point, he decided, him and all his buddies, a couple of his buddies, they got these gigantic trailers, like trailers that you put livestock in, and they took them up to West Virginia and I don't know where, North Carolina probably, and they've loaded those trailers up with white-tailed deer and with turkeys, and they brought them down to Georgia and they released them. And my great-grandfather had a lot of land, okay, and and he put it all on his land, and they released them there. And now today, Georgia has a ton of deer and a lot of turkeys. And I'm not making that up, y'all. The governor of Georgia, a few years ago, it was under Sonny Perdue, actually. They made a big resolution about it and went out to some of our family's land and like credited him. I mean, this is like in the history books, like credited my great-great-grandfather with bringing deer and turkey into Georgia. Okay, so we know all about deer. All right.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool, right? But now Georgia is like overloaded with turkey and deer. Okay, a lot. So, but anyways, I think that's the kind of a cool little history tidbit right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yes, you're welcome, y'all. It's in the blood. Okay. I'm kidding. But nonetheless, okay. So I've never encountered any kind of weird deer like this, like we're going to talk about today. Now, when I'm talking about the no deer, they're almost like zombies, Barry. Okay, some of them are kind of zombie-like. There's actually a video that you can find. It's on TikTok as well, and it's a girl that's riding her four-wheeler, or some kind of side-by-side, or a four-wheeler, or some kind of ATV, and she's riding it out in the woods, and she comes across this thing. And I don't know if you can see that. If you guys want to blow it up, if you're watching it on your TV at home, you can see it. If you're on your phone, you need to blow it up. But there's like this deer. Looks at it.
Please enlighten me. Whoa.
It's like, what is that? Okay. Now, my first reaction too, like I thought it moved, but to me, okay, so this is one of like the videos of like a not deer, but see, like I don't remember it moving, and so in my opinion, it's either a not deer because that doesn't look like a normal deer to me, or it's like a stuffed mannequin of a deer. It's like that uncanny valley I talked about last week, and it's like something that people do target practice on, for like bow and arrow hunting and stuff. I
think that's very astute of you to make that observation. Seriously, I'm trying to be laugh. I think that's more astute than anything.
It's weird.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My spider sense goes off on that one. I'm sorry, Jones.
Yeah, it does. It looks like to me, it looks like something that you get at Tractor Supply or like some kind of sporting goods store that you can like go do target practice on. But I don't know. I never saw it move. Okay. I just saw it looking back and looking at her. So this is kind of a go-to. Oops. Oh, I can't see myself. Sorry, that's a big comment there. Thanks, Combat Kid. That's just it's kind of a go-to for whenever you're looking into not deer. That video is on there, on TikTok, on everywhere. And so that's y'all can find this video somewhere. If you look up the not deer, it's there. But it almost sounds like a zombie animal or some kind of an animal. Like if I were to encounter something that didn't look quite right, I would just assume that it was either deformed or had a virus of some sort, like that chronic wasting disease that you've talked about before. And I have some pictures here. Okay. I also want to show the audience some pictures of like some deformities that are common in deer. Okay. Some of these are not super common actually. But a lot of times their antlers will get growths on them. Okay, I don't know if this is a fungus or if this is just some kind of, it may just be a deformity. To me, it looks like some kind of a fungus. Some deers have extra legs. Some humans are born with extra legs, okay, and extra body parts. So that is not uncommon. Some deer are born with their antlers kind of jacked up a little bit. You know what I mean? And this poor thing, it looks like a unicorn. But it's the other antlers going where its eye's supposed to be. I mean, it's just, is it inbreeding? Is it just genetic deformities? Who knows? Okay. Who knows? But there are cases of deers that are going to be, or deer, that are going to have deformities. Okay. Now the ones with deformities, it seems as though like they're probably going to not walk all like they're in the Walking Dead cast. You know what I mean? Like zombie-like. And so if you were to encounter something like that, I would assume that you probably should take a step back. Okay. Because some of the reports of these not deer are reports of them looking in people's windows. Now, I don't think those are actually real deers if they're looking in your windows at night and staring at you. But I wanted to pull this picture up here because this deer is supposed to have chronic wasting disease, and it is leaning up against a house or a barn. And so that's something also that we need to take into account, that they may need help standing. And if there is a weird not deer standing by your house, maybe it just needs to go prop its body up. I mean, I don't know. We're looking at this from all angles, y'all. And this poor thing right here looks malnourished. And this is when I was looking up examples of the chronic wasting disease. I found that picture there. And then a lot of times they say that the heads are kind of cocked to the side. Okay. And their necks will be, sometimes deer's necks will be broken. Okay. And when you see a deer that is walking up towards you and it has its neck kind of turned over, turned to the side, sometimes that can just be because they have broken necks. Okay. And let's see, I've got one more picture to show. This is just another one. I think that one looks like it's just yelling. Okay. It looks like it's just, and they do make noises. I mean, I've actually heard deers in the woods. They sounded like ducks. I think it was really? Ducks. Yeah. It was almost like a snort or something. And now tell me if I'm wrong, y'all. There could be people in the chat that know different, but it seems like we were out in the field one night and I kept hearing what sounded like ducks or something. And I think Keith or somebody would tell me, they were like, no, those are probably deer making that noise. So they make a lot of strange noises out there, but most of the time deers are silent, Barry. You don't hear them at all. Unless they're kind of walking around the woods. And we do have to listen when we're out there doing our Bigfoot research. If there's a lot of dead leaves and dead debris, like debris on the ground, you can hear them walking through the woods at night. Okay. And they're rarely ever alone. There's usually a bunch of them. If you see one, you're going to see a bunch. Okay.
I was just looking up to make sure. Mad deer disease was the first term that was used for chronic wasting disease. It was mad deer disease because you had mad cow disease and then mad deer disease. And there's a lot of worry, like there still is, can that or CWD be communicable to humans and make that gene jump, that transfer jump? Oof. Which would be very, very nasty for us. You start dealing with that. Zombies. Takes us into these different type of fungi too, like the zombie fungus that affects those ants. That's strictly in those insects, in those ant species, the zombie ants. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm just thinking about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it can be devastating. I mean, I'd mentioned a video that I saw.
They're all prion diseases. Sorry.
Prion diseases, and you can get that from cannibalism as well. So that's, yeah. I saw this video of a man that was in a hospital. It was allegedly was a zombie. And the video, the guy narrating the video was one of those, it was almost like one of those, what is that group, Anonymous or something, where they're, it's like a guy wearing a mask. He was like, his voice was different, like changed. He had a voice changer and there's a microphone. He was like, this is an actual zombie. This man was burned to death hours earlier and all his organs were removed. And now he is reanimated. And I don't know, it was just weird. Okay. It was like some guy he was walking around the hospital kind of like in this room and he seemed kind of out of it. It could have been off stage. I don't know. But I mean, hopefully we don't have a zombie outbreak coming. But I don't know, the CDC has been warning us, right, Barry? With the zombie apocalypse warnings.
Prion disease, but the whole zombie apocalypse thing. I mean, there's so much fear mongering going on right now. Take your pick. You can go for that, or you could go for the alien invasion, or you could go for the meteor that's going to strike us and destroy us, or this Apophis. Got about a year left, right? I mean, it's all these things that are the timelines of doom and destruction. That's all we hear about here. And just due to natural earth changes, it doesn't take a psychic to tell you that there's trauma, there's catastrophes coming, no matter what. You know what I mean? So I don't know, just certain things. I'm hoping that this shift in consciousness, like what you're sharing and other things, is bringing awareness that this place can change. Yeah. Yes, it's in steps, but spiritually and consciously, it can change a lot here. Like our technology can change. It's especially when we start incorporating the conscious elements with it, which we're not doing right now.
That's
Not
right.
not
You know
not
what?
enough. Anyway, not enough publicly. Anyway.
Yeah, well, if you watch my show, you kind of see like I'm ready for the apocalypse if it happens. We're all good. Some of us are actually looking forward to it. I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm just kidding. But I do tell everybody to live in awareness, okay? I do. I know, seriously, there's some people that are they're down for it. Okay, that's what we came here for. All right, we're here in case we need to be ready for this apocalypse, and just know that not everybody's scared of it. You know what I mean? But I don't want everybody to live in fear. We're not having an apocalypse, y'all. We're not. There's no zombie apocalypse. Just roll with it. Okay, just roll with it. We'll see what happens. But anyways, Don's Heart is in the chat. What's up, Don? Oh my gosh, love Don. He's part of my teams. He says DNR sometimes has their cell phones set as quacking. DNR puts out decoys to catch people hunting out of season and from the road. That was darn DNR guys. I tell you what, they're out there trying to set people up and stuff. So y'all be aware of that. Be careful. And yeah, well, there's duck hunters out there and deer hunters and all that kind of stuff. So.
Look, for those of us that are not the casual murderer of these creatures, or I'm sorry, hunters, what is DNR?
Oh, Department of Natural Resources. Department of Natural Resources. They run all the national parks. Yeah, we get like the game wardens and the state park rangers and the national park rangers and things like that. Yeah,
those are
like federal crimes out there, man. If you do poaching.
Right?
Yeah, you got to be real careful out there. I would never do that out there on that federal land. Okay, you got to be real careful with that. But yeah, they get real creative when it comes to catching people doing stuff like that. So yeah, there's rules out there.
What is DNR's policy on feral people? People live off the grid out in those national parks. Those people are dangerous as heck, man.
Well, there's also people that go out there and set up encampments and live. Homeless people set up out there. And there's actually about a year ago, 2 years ago, over in the Talladega National Forest in Alabama, there was a whole encampment of like over 100 people, maybe more, that had gone off grid and had their families out there in like an encampment, and two women decided to wander off and flag down a car and act like they needed help, and ended up shooting the guy. There was a man and his fiance, and he shot her too, and her lady was left there, and her friend ran back to the encampment, and they brought the search dogs out and stuff, and they came upon that big encampment out there in the middle of the Talladega National Forest. It was like some kind of, they were calling it like a religious cult or something. They're calling it a cult. Okay. But I mean, probably just a bunch of people that wanted to get off grid, and go in a national park. I mean, that's pretty rough. I don't know exactly what the rules are for all that. I don't know. I'll probably be having a guy coming on the show to talk about feral people up in the Smokies here pretty soon. We'll talk about it.
I'd heard something about what you're talking about, just vaguely, and I've heard other stories similar. It's always catching my attention because back in college, I had my cultural anthropology professor. We used to get in these long debates in class and afterwards. I went to his office a few times. He's an interesting cat, because he had spent some time with the head shrinkers of New Guinea and also the head hunters as well. So he's a very interesting cat, but he was, for whatever reason, convinced that feral people was just a myth, especially the myth of the feral child, like Mowgli from the Jungle Book.
From the Jungle Book.
He was a no-go for Mowgli. That was a dude that played Mowgli back when I was a kid, named Sabu, and they try to say Sabu was really a feral person, and that turns out that's not true. But I mean, so I always just taking interest when I hear about encampments about feral people, just due to interactions with that professor. Well, I knew he was wrong. I said, there's no way he was correct on that. I heard too much stuff, So anyway, he said about urban myths. I said, I don't think so.
No, there's. Have you not seen The Hills Have Eyes? That's a good movie. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
and scary. And I mean, I say it's good. I don't know. I watched it once and I was like, oh, it sucks.
It's good. Those mutants showed up on
Yeah.
Weird Science. Remember? They
Yeah.
ran to his house.
They all look like sinister versions of that guy from the Goonies, the guy with likes baby Ruths. It's like that. It was just it's wild, okay, but very sinister with bloodlust. Okay, that movie. So if you guys want to see it, go watch The Hills Have Eyes. That's really creepy. And
What's the other one? Wrong Turn. That's a creepy one
I don't
too.
know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to, you know me, I don't watch movies hardly at all anymore, but I have seen that movie and I watched it because I'm out in the woods so much, and then I regretted watching it after I watched it. The first one was good, the second one was weird, but nonetheless, there's so much weird stuff out there that could hurt us in these woods. And I do want to make the distinction between feral people and then people that are just going off grid. Okay, it's totally different. Okay, totally different.
What's the difference? Explain what's different.
Okay, people going off grid, those are just normal, regular people that want to go live off grid, that don't want to pay bills, you know, like power and gas bills and stuff like that, and just want to live off the land. Okay, that's different than feral people are. I don't know. They're feral. Feral means like I don't even know if they live in houses. I'm not even sure. People just live off the land that they're like. I hate to say that they're like animals. You know, I know, no shade, no offense, y'all. I don't know, but feral people are people like, let's say, like children that were raised by a pack of wolves. Okay, like Romulus.
The ones my professor was saying don't exist. Yeah,
they do exist, and there's proof of it all over the world. You know, that there's that little girl that was in Russia, maybe, that she was highly abused by her parents. So she would go live outside with like her dogs, and she runs on I say 4 legs, but her hands and her legs. She runs around like a dog. There's been many cases of that, just like the kid from the Jungle Book.
Mini Mowgli's.
There's a little boy out of, I think it's India actually, that they based that movie off of, right? And his name was Mowgli, I think. But yeah, it's happened for a long time. You know, children that get abandoned, they take up with animals and then they become feral.
Sorry, making me laugh. I'm sorry. For the record, though, it's the communities more that I've heard about being really dangerous. The off-grid communities.
Oh, they're very dangerous.
Especially in the national parks. That's just what I've heard. More than just these occasional feral people who are running around like the animals they were raised by. You know.
Yeah. Well,
I've seen a few examples of that, and so it's just making me laugh. I know little girl running around like she was one of the. I've seen that.
Yeah, it's really sad actually. watching children. You know, because they've done documentaries on these feral children, and you know, and there's, when it comes to like the feral people, the Smoky Mountains, what they say, I've not come across any, but they say that, you know, there's inbreeding involved as well. It's like people that, you know, live in their own little, you know, I won't say community kind of, but yeah, they don't. The tree didn't have a lot of limbs on it, you know, like the family tree and stuff like that. So yeah.
A family tree with no limbs. Oh,
I'm just trying to think of a nice way to say this.
Okay, we gotta try to get serious.
Oh my gosh. Let's go back to the knot deers, please.
That was the greatest analogy ever. She said basically a family tree with no limbs.
Yeah. Let's go back to the knot deer, please. This is making me sweat. Skip, thank you so much for that. A great team and great show. Thank you, Skip, for that super sticker. I appreciate your support. That's so sweet of you. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's get back to the knot deer on that note. And here's some pictures. I want to show the audience a couple of pictures of, this is some of the examples that you can find online of like deers that don't look completely right. Like there may be something wrong with it a little bit. I don't know about this one. I don't know, but that's one of the go-to pictures right there. The others are all AI, Barry, which is the interesting part for here. Most of them, I have personally deemed the other pictures mostly as AI. Now this one right here, that's definitely AI. There's no way that deer has fangs. Deers don't have fangs.
Not the deer. That's not Bambi, that's for sure.
No, I mean, they don't look like that. And boy, I tell you what, I would question going camping if I had to deal with deer like that. We do have a lot of deer out in the Appalachians. Okay. And this is a cool picture. I mean, that's just a regular deer right there, but it looks like it's got wide eyes. This is another. This is just a normal picture that I showed earlier, I believe. And I don't know. This definitely AI right here, definitely on that one. But imagine walking or being in the woods at night, and then this thing shows up. I mean, even the rack on its antlers are just outrageous right there. But these are just some of the pictures people have put up online, of course.
Cujo.
What do you think? Yeah, and this right here. No, that's not it. Where's that one that I had? Here it is. This is, look at this. Look at their eyes. This is what they say they look like, actually, is that their eyes are not, the not deer don't have eyes on the side of their heads. They have them straight ahead, looking forward like human eyes.
Really?
Okay. Yes.
That's an interesting small difference.
Yeah. Yeah. They say because
that almost looks like that's a CGI with the face of a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, doesn't it?
A wolf. Yeah. That's definitely CGI. There's no way that's real. It's like a wolf face or coyote or something with the eyes like that. Yeah. Somebody got creative. Okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not a lot of pictures of real not deers, I think, but who's to say? I think a lot of them
look up pan creatures by chance? You got any of those pictures?
Any what pictures?
Pan type creatures?
Pan? No, I didn't even think about that. No. Like goat men?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, let's see.
I mean, not that they're the exact same things, but close enough.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, man.
I don't know what that is. I was just throwing some pictures in here.
He's definitely not a member of the Boy Scouts, I'll tell you that.
I have this deer woman right here. Oh my gosh, I know. Okay. I wanted to show a picture of the chronic wasting disease map. Okay, because this is where they are concentrated, where all the cases are. Now, I forgot to upload the picture of the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, so the Appalachian Mountains run along the east coast of the United States. And it is from New York State, all the way down to Alabama. That's where they end. And they run right through Georgia, where I live. And these are the cases of the chronic wasting disease right here. And I want everybody to know there's not hardly any. I mean, there's a few up there in like the tip of West Virginia and Pennsylvania right there. But going down the Appalachians, there's not a whole lot. Most of the chronic wasting disease cases are over in the Midwest. Okay. Or what is that? Montana and like Utah a little bit right there. And I don't know. They're just right there, like Nebraska.
Yeah.
It's not around the Appalachian Mountains, Barry. And that's something that was kind of concerning for me. I was like, okay, well, all right, if we're having all these cases of the not deers over in the Appalachians, maybe it's not the chronic wasting disease. Okay, because there's not a lot of cases over here. I mean, there's some very concentrated cases up at the northern tip of West Virginia right there in the southern part of Pennsylvania. That's it. Okay.
Wow, that's an interesting map.
Right?
Because I was thinking in my mind how much it might correlate with not just the Bigfoot sightings map, but also the missing 411 cluster map. And it doesn't really correlate with either of those, especially the Midwest area, though, they're concerning the missing 411 clusters. There's like down the middle Midwest, and Pauletti says it's because of that huge aquifer that there are not many clusters. And here we see that CWD is just crazy in that area.
It is. It is, and it's in Canada as well, up there where that's not where Dave Scott actually is, over more towards the west over there. But yeah, it's kind of puzzling to me, okay, because that is one of the explanations as to what's going on in the Appalachians with the not deer. It's chronic wasting disease, and that would be my go-to. Like, maybe that's why people are seeing deer standing up and looking in their windows. Now, there's also something else. They call it the deer man as well. And some people have claimed that they have seen what looks like, okay, here's a picture. That right there just looks like a deer that's been mounted that somebody put in somebody's window to scare them. Okay. And practical joke probably, but there are, oh God, where was I going with that? I just lost my train of thought. I was thinking about
deer men.
Oh, the deer man. Yeah, I got the thought about all the deers in my house when I was a kid. When I was thinking about that. So the deer man. So some of the cases, there's at least one case of a kid that said that he saw thought a deer was looking in his window at night, and he said that he sat there and looking at it like the shadow of this deer. And that's why I say, everybody, put your blinds up and your curtains up in your windows. Okay. Because he said that he was looking out and he could see the outline of a deer. I guess he had a curtain over his window and the sun was coming through. It was in the early morning. And the deer kind of it was like a deer with antlers. And then it kind of morphed into like a man while it was in his window. So, I mean, could these be skinwalkers? Yes. As well. I mean, S-walkers can pretty much turn into anything, right, Barry? As long as you put the pelt on, and I mean, how does that work? Do you know?
Well, I understand that there's it could be any animal, but some are kind of seem to be preferred, and the ones that could be getting pelts of. But the type of S-walkers I was taught about are different. They're using the dream bodies, so they don't need pelts. They don't need things. They're using the dream body and projecting their cognitive awareness and cognitive abilities into the dream body, and that doesn't have any of the physical parameters that this one does. So that includes shape.
Yeah. Deer man versus deer women. That's right. The deer.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'd asked that, and during the stories I'd heard in my state were never about anything about deer men. It was always deer women. And them coming to the powwows and stuff, but you would assume that there were probably deer men also, but it was some reason it was mostly the women that were talked about. And occasionally I'd heard the word deer people, but it seemed like they're always referred to as females. So I don't know. It's interesting. That's just where my local state. So I don't know. I'm no expert on it, but.
Yeah, you don't hear much about deer men. That's right. Yeah, I've heard more about deer women than I ever have deer men.
But what Dr. Sean said, she said, those deer women, they're so attractive. And when somebody sees them at the club, man, and they dance and stuff, they would go dance with them. They hang out, and they always go try to take them somewhere. And when either they get them there or the way there, the deer woman turns on them and reveals the hooves and starts trampling on, dancing on them yeah. And he was quite serious when he was telling me the story. It's not the humorous thing that I have. It made me wonder, man, I'm not going to those little towns and going to none of those clubs and trying to get my back on. No way.
Man, you got to watch out for all of that these days. You got to ask to look at their feet. Let me see your feet, lady. Let me see them hooves. Let me see them hooves. Make sure you don't have hooves.
Boomerang.
Yeah. You got to check out their shoes.
Level, yeah.
Yeah, I've never really been one of those that worries about what shoes somebody's wearing, but I need to know if you got hooves in them shoes. Okay. God.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
I noticed that most of the pictures you had of deer standing up, whether it's to eat or on two legs, they seem to be only does. You notice that?
It does. Well, okay. I didn't pull these other pictures up, but most of the pictures of actually the ones that I showed, yes, look like does. They look like they don't have antlers on them. Most of them don't that I know of. This one might. Let me see. That one may have little antlers on it. I don't know. But a lot of them, they're the ones that are up on two legs are usually fighting. Okay. I don't have any pictures. I forgot to pull a picture of that up, but a lot of times the bucks, the ones with the little antlers or big antlers, they'll fight each other, and they actually get caught. They get on two legs. They start doing their little boom, 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 boom with their feet, their front feet, and they use their antlers to attack each other. And sometimes, more often than not, their antlers will get twisted up together, and they fight to the death. And one of them will die, or both of them will die, and their antlers will be hooked together. And so there's lots of videos out there where you see like a deer, and it's got like the decapitated head of another deer with the antlers stuck on it, and it's running around with its head all cocked up to the side, jacked up to the side, with a dead deer head hanging from it and stuff, because they do that.
It's part of nature. Throw something in real quick. What I said, I saw that somebody has an issue with some of it. Look, as when I'm talking about the powwows, I got that from not just Dr. Shaw, but also my friend Gail, who's passed. He was Lakota, an elder. So what they're talking about the powwows, you're not from my state. So what goes on the powwows in my state, and if they've seen deer people like they claimed, that's not for me to dispute. But I will stand by that because I will not question either Dr. Shaw or Gail. They were quite, especially Gail, he's super cool. So I'm just going to stand by that a little bit. You can't say that you know everything about all powwows because you haven't experienced one. That's very general, especially if you're not from my area. Just saying. You know what I mean? Some things I talk, it's not things I experience. It's someone else that's an elder that deserves respect. So.
Oh, man. Bigfoot Dwarf says, the devil wears Prada. And you're talking about them shoes. Prada and the hooves in the Prada. The Louboutins with the hood.
You know, every time you all start talking about the red shoe cult thing, or whatever it is,
I
always think about that terrible movie with Tom Hanks, The Man with One Red Shoe. That was a terrible movie.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh,
yeah. That's what you didn't see, Jones.
Yeah, it's well, feet play a big part in what I do because I talk about Bigfoot all the time. Big feet. Oh my gosh, even though I say Bigfoot with the S, okay, just like deers. But yeah, it's yeah, I mean remember that video of the lady, I think they were in Africa, I guess, somewhere in Africa where they were the woman had cheated on her husband, I guess, and like they were turning her into a cow. Remember that?
No, I don't think I saw that.
Was it goat? Maybe it was a goat. She had like either cow feet or goat hooves.
Oh, don't start making me laugh. We can't talk about that because that picture you showed of all the shows we've done. That picture you showed with the poor melanin dominant boy with the pig feet. That was.
It wasn't. I think it was. I think it was goat. It was either goat or cow.
It was a goat. Oh, gosh.
Yes, the goat meat.
You know,
oh my God. Yes.
You know, real quick, something I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned earlier that sometimes some people think that maybe some of these deer have been mistaken for a kangaroo. Was that in the United States?
Yes. Okay, so some say that it has been suggested that the knot deer could be sightings of kangaroos in North America, but I have in all my days, I mean, I've seen kangaroos at the zoo. Now, kangaroos could be getting out. We could have, we have hyenas in the Appalachians. We have chupacabras in the Appalachians. We have all sorts of weird stuff in the Appalachians. Okay, all these different cryptids. Could we have a kangaroo? Yeah. Okay, maybe. There could be kangaroos out there. It does resemble the deer. I think kangaroos look like deers that got out of prison. That's what I'm saying.
You know why I'm kind of asking that?
Okay. Why is that?
When sometimes dealing with these quote unquote chimeras and these other mutations, specifically the chupacabra as well, I'd heard stories about them being marsupials. You know, and I find that interesting because I can in terms of the data that you had and the John Vavinko right hemispheric remote viewing, what he had were somewhat similar in terms of you kept getting kangaroo genetics along with dinosaur genetics. And John Vavinko's team had seen that the chupacabra was marsupial and that once the child actually emerges from the pouch, the mother hunts it down, tries to eat it.
Yeah, they eat it.
It was sort of a weird deal going on there. Like that sounds to me like an abomination. I'm sorry. A genetic abomination of some type. You know, it's not for me to judge every species, but it sounds most unnatural. I knew some animals in the natural do that with their children, but that one, for some reason, it just seems more abominalistic, if that's a word. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, but it just makes me think that when you mention that, and since we're dealing with the cryptid itself, could that be a reason for misidentification? Have they seen some type of a marsupial?
I think so. I think, for sure. Yeah. Well, and I wanted to go back a little bit and let's talk about this chronic wasting disease real quick, because I want to give the actual, what do you call it? The symptoms of it. Okay. The symptoms, because it does sound a whole lot. And here we go.
Quick, where's Kern?
Yes. I have no idea. I've heard of Kern, but I don't know where that's at.
Sorry.
I'm not sure. Okay. Let me see. Let me pull up a picture this chronic wasting disease. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's just pull up this picture. It's kind of sad. Actually, let's do this one. Okay, because this one looks like they say this deer actually has this. It says that they do have a change in behavior when they get this chronic wasting disease. They get tremors, nervousness, and listlessness. Excessive salivation and increased water intake follow, and of course that could honestly kind of look like an animal's got rabies or something. If it's like foaming at the mouth and it's got like saliva coming down its face. It loses its fear of humans, and it looks like it's utterly confused. It says that okay, so people claim that the knot deer have double joints or multiple jointed legs, and they say actually the deers that get this chronic wasting disease lose some of the tissue in their legs, and it makes their lower leg swing slightly in either direction. So that could be a reason why they look like that. And some people say, I forgot to mention this, some of the people say that the knot deers have multiple eyes. Okay, so like a third eye in this, or 2 or 3 extra eyes on its forehead, or like 1 extra eye in the middle. And they say that this actually could be a misidentification of open lesions, which expose fluids, reflect the light, which is kind of gross. Sorry, y'all. I know it's lunchtime, kind of some places.
Hey, that's really good how you made those comparisons. I commend you on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, I think it's important when we talk about the knot deers, because, as far as like me being out there doing my research and everything, and we have to know what's going on. That's why I value our wildlife biologist that's on my team. He is really good. A lot of the guys, everybody's studied in it. Okay. But we have one official wildlife biologist on our team. Same team Dawn's on, that's in the chat today. But we, it's good to have people that know these things. Okay. And I'm learning every day. I'm always learning. And it's important for us to look at this from every angle, and what it could be as opposed to what people claim to. Okay. And not saying that people have not encountered knot deers, y'all. I'm sure they have, but there could be an explanation to it. To all of it, no. We do know that skinwalkers exist. Okay. We know that's a real thing. And so, but are all of them that? No, I don't think so. Do all of them look like this? No.
What I'm finding kind of creepy, to be quite honest with you, is that I think we're at a point in time where we're going through this shift and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at a point where, this has been going on for so long. And there are these different creatures now, these different mutations, these different experiments that they're just releasing. And cryptids that have never been seen in probably the history of this planet. That's what I think is going on right now. And you're starting to, through I think your work and other people, are targeting areas and zones where these releases are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And they go away real quick, almost like jumping jack that jumps away.
Jack.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so the entities that jump away, but that's more of a perception thing. But these are more like containment releases, I believe. And it's worried because this is a dark force. It's not just a dark government thing. It's a dark force thing all the way around. And so it's just and these different beings being released that are on the 4th dimensional level, that are devouring people's energy, or as you like to call it, loose, dark, actually dark organic radiation, deadly orgone radiation, DOR.
Loose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Garrel's still coming up with names for the knot deer. Non-committal deer. The non-committal is not fully committed to being a deer. It's close. I just, I talked about the zombie bear that came up in my data for those 2 targets a while back in Tennessee. And I'm going to say zombie deer. It's a zombie deer. Not to be confused with cocaine bear. I saw that, Heather. I think that was Heather who wrote that.
If you go back and look at the work you've done,
it's funny.
I think you'll find it interesting how many times the zombie bear has come up differently in different subjects, different terms, but that creature itself has come up a few times. I've encountered some stories people are telling, that sounds something similar to that. Yeah. And just the way you describe, I mean, it can be described other ways, but like, for example, like I found it fascinating when it kind of sounded like the Dewey Lake Monster. the whistling bear.
Yes.
The only difference
Yeah,
with that
right.
was the Mountain Dewey mountain. It was called like amphibious qualities, webbed hands, if I recall correctly. Only thing maybe a little different, but I mean, but still, that's around kind of the same creature you were describing as a zombie bear. Quite similar.
Whoa. Well, that's
Enough to where
interesting.
the same Dr. Moreau probably designed them both, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I
You
don't know.
met one?
I never heard of a zombie bear. Okay,
Oh,
until it came up in my data.
I like to know what that was like.
Hmm. I
She
know,
met
right?
one? Yeah.
Heather. Okay, I think Heather, if I'm not mistaken, Heather lives up around maybe the Mammoth Caves. I think Heather, is that right? And I think that's in Kentucky, actually.
Kentucky.
That would make a good remote viewing target right there. The Mammoth
Well, I'd
Caves.
like
They
to know
go,
what happened, man. I like to know
yeah,
what happened. That's a story I'd like to hear. Any stories like that, you know, because that's just something
yes,
different. It's amazing how it keeps coming up. There it is
it
again.
does. Okay,
Yeah.
well, Heather,
Wow.
maybe I can get Heather on the show. How about that?
Wow.
Maybe we'll bring Heather
Yeah.
on. We got to hear about the zombie bear.
I wonder if it's a
Any kind of
negative
information
account.
on zombie bears?
I
Okay,
wonder if it was negative. Are
yeah,
all zombie bear
I can't
encounters you've
imagine.
heard negative or?
I can't imagine it being positive. Just saying,
Well,
unless it's
you
in
know,
a
I didn't mean like you made me look stupid. I don't mean like that. I mean like in terms of it doesn't do anything. It just goes its way. You know what I mean?
oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
like
yeah,
non-violent,
yeah.
just like on The Walking Dead.
Like you weren't necessarily on the menu, that type of deal.
Right, right, we're on the menu. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I have to hit up Heather and find out.
Cool.
Oh, here she goes. Oh no, she's in she's in Myrtle Beach, so you better come see me at the Myrtle Beach conference in a couple of weeks. And but you did tell me to. Oh yes, you're the one that. Okay, that's it. Heather suggested that I do a remote view on the Mammoth Caves. That's right. Okay, I thought maybe you lived over there, so that's perfect. Okay. Wow. Well, this has been a pretty fantastic show today, Barry. I think that I've actually learned a lot. First of all, I learned that deer is both plural and singular. Okay, for sure. What I
didn't know.
suspected, but definitely have, and I've also learned a whole lot of different ways to say not deer. Thanks, audience. I appreciate y'all today. And yeah, I think. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the not deer before we go today, Barry? What do you think? Do you think it's probably more of a disease, probably, and people are seeing a diseased deer, or do you think it's probably the S walkers?
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think it's all three. I think it's
Me too.
some misidentification from CWD. I think some is some sort of creatures that are being released or experiments, some sort of thing like that that's going on. And I think the third would be you have also those humanoids that are capable of shapeshifting, S walkers and things of that nature. So I think it's three things. I think too often, Jessica, as humans, we make these third dimensional classifications, and then the classifications get a life of their own. You know what I mean? So in that way, we have
True.
to break our mold to that sometimes and realize it's multiple things put together. All the work we've done together shows that, if nothing else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I 100% agree with you. I think it's all of it. I think the majority, in my opinion, in the Appalachians, okay, because these things are not just found in the Appalachian Mountains. The not deers are found all over the place. Okay, all over the world, but definitely all over North America.
Okay,
And
okay. So
even in Alaska,
they're not even
not
just
just here.
specifically just the CWD map.
That's right. They're
Did
all
you
over
just
the place.
you
They're all
didn't
over the
see
place.
correlation there? Okay, sorry, I had to ask.
No, they're all over actually, and I found a concentration of them in Alaska actually. There's also a concentration in Alaska. Now I don't think this map. Let's see, does this map show Alaska too? Or it's just the lower 48. It's
Who's
just
the
the lower.
Native American guy you know from Alaska? What do he thinks about that?
Fred Roll.
Yeah,
Fred
what
Roll.
Fred
Yeah,
thinks about that.
I'll have to ask Fred. Maybe I'll get him back on the show soon. We'll see. But yeah, they're mostly out in the Midwest, kind of is where those chronic wasting disease cases are. There's not a whole lot of them in the Appalachians, not diagnosed at least or reported. Not to say they're not there, but as far as them being contained in some way and being reported, they're not all throughout the Appalachians. So it cannot explain all the Appalachian not deers. You just can't. And we know there's a lot of magic in them mountains, and a lot of S-walkers and things like that.
Conjuring,
So,
a
a lot of conjuring. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We just learned a little something new today. Okay, or at least I did. And so thank you so much for being here, Barry.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry, I didn't know. I'd not heard of that specific not deer thing. Only the deer woman and deer people. So thank you. I learned something here. You know, that's.
Oh my God, we have the dearest audience. Thank you, Andrew. The dearest audience. Oh gosh, yes, you guys are a dear audience, and I do appreciate it. And yes.
Sorry, I didn't look over at chat very much like I normally do. I was too tripped out and laughing at what we were talking about.
Caleb. Hey, Caleb. Yes, we so if you guys were not already worried about Bigfoots in the forest and dogmen, now we have deer men and deer women and also chupacabras and things that'll eat us. Okay. I don't think the deer, listen, no matter what, the not deers probably can't eat us. They could probably take a bite, but they have little mouths, y'all. So don't worry too much. Okay.
Oh, gee, that's so reassuring, Jones. Thanks.
They have tiny mouths. And I think that they're just herbivores, aren't they? Aren't deer just herbivores? I don't even know if they eat meat. I have seen one eat a snake. I did see a video of a deer eating a snake one time, but I don't think they eat animals. I think they just eat vegetation. I think I don't even know. Oh my God, I really don't even know.
Fauna, right? Eat fauna.
Yeah, eat fauna. I think they only eat I was gonna say vegetables and like apples and stuff, fruits and vegetables. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. I have no clue. All right, but yeah, they don't have sharp teeth. That's what I'm trying to get at. They don't have sharp teeth, and so don't worry, y'all, unless you are a vegetable. Then you got to worry. Barry, where can people find you? Tell the audience about your YouTube channel and the services you provide, whatever you'd like to talk about, and let us know when you're going live somewhere. Again.
The exospace time continuum all tripped out, man. No, my email is barrylittleton13@gmail.com. Experienced recently some issues again. Yesterday I went through my spam and a bunch of people have been squeezed back into spam that are not spam people. New people are emailing, and it goes with all these web promoter things it's like 80 in one email, but there'll be two of them in there to real people. But I'm trying to go through and get everybody and respond, and I may send you an extra email that's just a fresh generated one by me to make sure you get it. So just be aware. Anyway, the services I offer are earthbound spirit release, hypnotic regressions, past life regressions, ET regressions. Also, I do readings as well, and dissolvement of negative identities as well. So reach me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com. I'm also on YouTube, Barry Littleton. I got a lot of stuff on there. Please check out the playlist. On Patreon also, and on Instagram and Facebook under Barry Littleton.
Oh yeah, you guys go give him a subscribe if you hadn't already. And thank you so much for being here, Barry. It's always fun having you on.
Thanks for having me. This is an interesting one.
I love it. I know. Well, we always just, it makes me think about stuff, and now I'm just more aware about like what's in the woods and the diseases that these animals can get, and and it's just me. It just reminds me to close my curtains at night. Too.
Hey, something else I want to throw in too. I've been getting lately a wave of people that are giving like gratitude for the shows we do. I've been getting like emails and messages, like private messages and stuff like that. It's really nice. Thank you. I just want to tell everybody thank you. That's really cool. It makes it so worthwhile. That it's fun. It's hopefully educational for everybody, because I certainly learned a lot of stuff on all these. So just want to say thank you to your audience and the people that are checking it out. So,
oh, thank you guys. That's so sweet. That's awesome, Barry. We appreciate everybody. Thank y'all to everybody who follows us and supports us. We really do appreciate it, y'all. And it keeps Barry and I going with all this crazy stuff we talk about and putting this out to the public. If it weren't for you guys, I'm not going to say we wouldn't be here doing this right now, but it does keeps us pushing. Okay, to do this, and it's fun. Y'all make it fun. Everybody here makes it fun, and it's great to get the response from people sometimes. So we know we're on the right track here. And I do appreciate it. And I saw that Riley says a real deer hunter knows deer do eat meat occasionally. Okay, so good. I told you I saw that video of a deer eating a snake. So I figured they get a little meaty treat every now and then. Okay, they'll probably take a little bite out of you if you let them. So
just like Sasquatch, everybody in the forest eat a little bit of everything, little omnivores, right? Good old omnivores.
I don't know, they eat that butt meat. I'm just kidding. Watch your back, y'all. Don't let the deers come at you. Deers are honestly quite scared of humans, so I don't think that, if a deer walks up to you, back away from it probably, because there might be something wrong with it. Okay, I'm just saying, just do. And the deek. I've been seeing that. I saw your comment, Moondog. Thank you. He says the deek do, and I think that's some kind of. I don't think that's in this country. That's in Asia, I think, somewhere. So
I thought that was from a Willy Wonka movie. Those little things.
I think those are they vampire deers or something? Oh, Carol says, sleep tight, don't let the deer vampires bite. Oh my God, y'all. Okay, so y'all just be careful. I don't think we have the deeks in North America, but I don't know where y'all are listening from or watching from. So please be safe out there. And please come back and see me, y'all, on Wednesday. I will be back on A Glitch in the Matrix at 1 p.m. Eastern, and I hope to see you all there. Please like the video today, y'all, if you hadn't already, and share it out, and subscribe if you hadn't already to the channel. And definitely listen to me on podcasting platforms as well. I put all the shows up right after I do them, usually on podcasting platforms. If you guys want to listen to me in the truck or the car or the boat or the spacecraft. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Barry, thanks again for being here. And I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. Y'all close your curtains tonight and lock your doors so you can meet me back here on Wednesday. All right, bye, y'all. Bye, baby.